welcome to Outlaw Radio on a Wednesday night, right? Hump Day edition, National Grief Awareness Day. A lot of y'all didn't know that. National Grief Awareness Day. And so I decided to call the show tonight Peace of Mind. Not a small piece, but peace of mind. Welcome to the show. My name is Kevin Barnes. I am the host and the architect of Outlaw Radio and the People's News Network, also known in some circles as the Negro Whisperer, the militant with a microphone, the world-class smartass. Welcome to Outlaw Radio. Share the show, share the show, share the show. Y'all come on in. Come on in. Call your cousin and them. Call your cousin and them, your uncle, your auntie and them. Tell them Outlaw Radio is on deck. I'm not alone. I have the witch doctor himself here with us tonight. My brother, tell these people who you are and what you do.
I am the black woman lover, the black man's brother, the culture teacher, the hood healer, the ghetto witch doctor. I'm all y'all. Holistic health and wellness coach, Mr. Kamar Carter. Peace to the family. I'm also the one who brings you the House of Vitality. Yes, the House of Vitality at the Sherman Phoenix, 3536 West Fond du Lac Avenue. Come holler. We got smoothies. We got sea moss teas. We got sea moss. We got elderberry. We got cleansers. We got everything you need. We got something for everybody else. So just come on down and holler.
Right, man. Support black business and always keep saying, if you're not supporting black business and black causes and black institutions and the foundational black American frame of mind, what are you doing? What are you doing? I question your motivation, right? I feel like it means that everything, the stars align sometimes when we do Outlaw Radio, because I get to the point sometimes where mentally I'm tired, right? And shout out to you all. And I want you to know you can call in. There's a number. The number is on the bottom of the screen, but I never hesitate to say it. It's 262-202-5131. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I you're drained. You're drained from holding yourself down. You're drained from holding the people who you are, responsible for down. And you just get to the point where you're like, man, I need to rest. And we talk about National Grief Awareness, right? Sean Moore, I sent you the link. I don't know what you're talking about. I sent you the link. You send me question marks. I'm gonna send it to you again. But it's National Grief Awareness Month. And sometimes I need to ask my people. This is the moral of this show tonight, Kamar. Are y'all all right? Milwaukee, how y'all doing? Black Milwaukee, how you doing? Are you okay? Is everything cool? Is the pressure getting to you? Have you lost and you don't know how to recover from it? Are you grieving and you don't know how to move away from it? Are you living with regret? Are you dealing with trauma? What's your anxiety level? Are you stressing out because of this money? Are you stressing out because of your kids, your family? National Grief Awareness Month. I want you to be aware of your grief, right? Stop running away from it. I want this to be a show about emotional accountability. How y'all feel? What's good? I know we make it look good, right? We make this shit look smooth, I love the meme that says, man, I ain't gonna lie, being black is kind of dangerous, but this shit is lit.
I just wore that shirt yesterday.
Right. Okay. It's lit though. It's lit. So, man, I got my partner in the building, man. Young Rosie Calhoun. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling pretty good. This is a topic that I think is needed. There's been a whole lot of anxiety just lately, especially just in my household. I was talking to my lady and she was like, I don't know why I feel like sometimes even with anxiety, you don't even know what the cause of it is. You just know your body ain't resting. So yeah, this is something that's definitely needed in the community.
Black people got this thing where, with mental health with us is not really, we haven't done that deep dive. So we said, man, I'm just going through some shit right now. Right. You know what I mean? You don't really, it's so much But I want us to say, like, woosah. Let's take a deep breath because we're coming off of a traumatic summer in which young people are are being shot and murdered and killed and killing themselves via all kinds of craziness with reckless driving. And whether we want to admit it or not, that is the younger generation that's supposed to come up behind us and inherit whatever we're able to do to make this world better for foundational Black Americans. So when I see them in duress, it raises my stress level a little bit. When I look at the situation of inflation in this country and political corruption, when I look at the fact that my people can't unite and get together on the right things in the right way, it raises my stress level. Now you add all the extra shit to it. Sometimes I need to just chill. And when somebody say, "You okay? Kev, you all right?" You know what I mean? I have to say, man, you know what? It could be better, but it could also be worse. Welcome to Outlaw Radio, man. Y'all chime in. My chat room is popping. Dion said, man, I'm in this motherfucker. Ready to cut the fuck up. Let's do it. Let's do it. Share the show. Listen, I'm figuring out that the best way for this shit to be represented in the way it should is for everybody to support this show and do what y'all been doing. Like, I appreciate everybody who's rocking with us because people putting it out there. And once you get in, you understand that it's nothing else like it in the city. So it's Outlaw Radio on a Wednesday night. Eagle Eye Shaw, how you doing, my brother? He said, peace, fam. Tapping in at work. I love it. Outlaw Radio, brothers at work, tapping in, right? Dion in the truck. He's Eagle Eye Shaw securing some shit, right? This is what it's about. So it's National Grief Awareness Day. The show is called Peace of Mind, not a small piece, but peace of mind. What you doing to get a little bit of peace in your life? You know, we understand as men that shit gets chaotic. It gets chaotic. Like, it's like, man, but you got to have something that you carve out to get this thing right. Because if this computer ain't working, right? If this thing right here is trouble, everything else goes south as well. So welcome to the show. Y'all can call in. Y'all can chime in. Let me know what y'all up to. Milwaukee, let me know how y'all doing. Like, people, how y'all doing, man? we got all kinds of shit going on in the city. And you got to feel some kind of way about it. So I want to know, are y'all okay? My son is, you know, it's incredible, his wit, because he has this thing where if you're acting weird or if you say something strange, he'll look at you and say, hey, you straight? Are you good? That's his way of saying, yeah, all right, man, you acting kind of funny. And so I do it all the time to other people. When somebody says something weird to me, I'll be like, you straight? Are you good? Like, did you bump your head or something? So welcome to the show, man. Let me get the chat room. Mama Jenkins, it's still your birthday, Mama Jenkins. Happy birthday. She said, good evening, Outlaw family. Let's make it do what it do. My piece is leave a motherfucker alone. Man, and that's worth talking about because I've had the conversation that, like, we joke about this shit on the show all the time, right? Because I don't go anywhere, right? Like, I'm not on the scene, I'm not out. And I was once an individual who was everywhere at the same damn time. That's how cold I was. And I learned that the most peace I've ever had is since I've become this individual who's nowhere, who just by itself, chilling, you know, doing shit that you used to think didn't matter, like sitting outside late at night when the weather's nice, listening to the crickets and the, you know, and all this kind of nature, old hippie ass, crazy tree hugger shit. And I've been able to embrace that, but I ain't been in no drama. I ain't been arguing with nobody. My name don't even come up. And so there's a lot of peace in that. So when Mama Jenkins say, leave a motherfucker alone, I vibe with that. And if that's your thing out there, or you say, Kev, I'm straight as long as I leave these other motherfuckers alone.
Well, hey, you know, a key to happiness, man. You know what I mean, is learning how not to give a fuck.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You remember how we used to talk about the politics and stuff, and I'd be like, Kev, you know, I really don't even give a shit. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't saying it's that to not give a fuck, but you know what I mean? You just got to learn not to give a fuck about so much shit that don't have nothing to do with you. Because a lot of the time, man, we get emotionally tied to shit that ain't got nothing to do with our life. It ain't doing nothing but tearing us down mentally or spiritually. You know what I'm saying?
Baggage.
Exactly. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean? Like, I think it's a thin line. You know what I mean, between not giving a fuck.
Well, I'll tell you this, Kamar, the great Marvin Gaye, and he made this song that I heard when I was very young. And the hook of the song says, change what you can, and what you can't, leave it alone. Just had a sense to know the difference between the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I've
Mm-hmm.
always kind of carried that with me since I've been legit, man. Just like, hey, man, I don't get stressed out about shit I can control. I do the best to control the things that I can. Ace Cooley in the chat room, he said, what's up, fam? How you do? He walked the gray from Arizona. My brother, what's happening, man? What it do? How you doing out there, man? Erica Hunt, how you doing? Ace says, ain't
Peace,
nothing wrong
peace.
with loving a person from a distance. Yes, absolutely. I still love the hood, bruh. I'm still down for everything we ever claimed and stood on. I just do it from the northwest side now. And I'm usually solo when I'm doing it, or I'm with my family, right? Like my priorities socially in my life just got down to my family, my children, my wife, and just those inside my really, really small sphincter like circuit. I don't know. Can I say sphincter like real? Is that nasty? Am I going blue too early?
Hey, do your thing, man.
Okay, okay. Well, as long as you
It's
say I
just a
can do my
muscle.
thing. As long as you approve, right? As long as you approve.
Hey, it's just a muscle, man. You know.
Right. And see, like somebody like Kamar, who I've known for a very long time, but still could communicate pretty consistently is somebody, but that's just one person out of all the dudes I've known for the last 30 years that can say, oh, how Kev doing? I call here, I call him on the phone. Hey, what's up, Kev? You know, and but Kamar don't bring drama. So Kamar ain't calling me on a Friday night saying, man, I'm up here on Burla, man. These niggas tripping, man. I need you, I need you to
Bring
come
the
up here,
thing.
man. You know, and you know, the old law I lived under said I got a ride. The new law said, what the fuck you call me for? I hope you're not offended. You need to call the capo of the streets who just tuned in. And I don't know what kind of short bus issues you was having with me sending you the link. You gotta stop smoking that shit.
Bro,
What's
man,
happening?
you just gotta start sending the link. I
I
got the
sent it
link
early.
after you.
You were the first one I sent it to.
I
You
got
said
the link.
question marks.
Listen, bro, I got the link after you said I sent the link.
No, you put question marks. I'm like, it's the show. You know what? What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, bro? How
I'm
you
tired of
doing?
arguing with your ass, man.
What up, Dr. Carter and Professor Real?
Peace, peace.
And yeah, this Negro whispering motherfucker.
Man,
What up, little bro?
man, with his punk ass. Right. I
What
hate
up, little bro?
I'm holding on, man. I'm tight like Nat Booty. Um uh
Don't talk about booty, bro.
well, you're right. I shouldn't because it will just like the conversation will automatically be about
Dion
booty
gonna
because
call in.
right. Mama Jiggy said I like meditation and quiet time. I also like for a person to make their own choice and not give me and not give my and not to give my opinions. Solitude. That's the word I discovered a long time ago. That's what I'm saying. Tonight is peace of mind. Ain't no drama. It's
Oh, I
all
need to get off
love.
of here.
It's constructive building. We're gonna talk about the issue still, Sean. We're gonna still
Hey,
talk
Mama
about that.
Jenkins.
But it's National Grief Awareness Day.
Oh wow.
And so we talk about mental health and black men in particular. We don't like to talk about mental health and shit.
So
You
you
know,
said,
you
what
know,
is it again, KB? National what?
National Grief Awareness Day.
National Grief Awareness Day. So it's let me remind you of all the trauma that you're trying to forget day.
No, I mean, if you
No,
take it like that, if you want to, you can
I'm
drink
just
whatever you
saying.
want. What it is it's a day that says it's time for you to sit down and think about what's bothering you. Start to
Right.
think about your
All the
grief,
trauma.
recognize your trauma, and ask yourself, how are you going to deal with this shit? Because the longer you sit and stew in it, the worse it is gonna get,
That
right?
don't sound right to me, KB.
Right. You know, it don't always have to sound right to you, seeing as how you couldn't even understand a simple link that I sent you. So we
Let me
already
tell you
know.
why, bro.
Right.
Right? If I'm going through this grief and trauma, obviously I ain't figured the shit out. And now you tell me to sit down today and figure it out. I've been going through it for umpteen million fucking years. How the fucking am I gonna figure it out in 24 hours when I ain't figured it out in 224 hours?
Well, I can tell you
That
what
don't
you
make sense to me,
can
bro.
do. I can tell you what you can do if you've been going through something for 25 years and you still ain't figured out the answer. the first thing you need to do on National Grief Awareness Day is say, let me get some goddamn help,
Okay.
because you need help.
Yeah.
And this might be the chance for you to admit to yourself that you need help. See, that is the issue. We will sit on an issue for 30 years and not address it. And how do you think it manifests itself? Listen, there's no universal coincidence that puts black people as the sole victims of hypertension and diabetes, because what diabetes is actually is your endocrine system overloading. Your body doesn't even process sugar the way it should be, because you've been in fight or flight since birth and you've burnt out your internal organs. You can't
That
even.
wasn't Rufus King.
Yeah, hey, it's a lot more than that. You got to name the universities too. I need for you to name the
That's what I'm
university.
saying. That
Right,
that
right.
that didn't come from Rufus King.
I'll
Now you
send you a
showing your
list.
college. I'm proud of you,
I'll
bro.
send you a list. I'll send you a
I'm
list. You
proud
can
of you,
name them
bro.
all off. It's about four, 5 college
I'm
degrees
proud
behind
of
the
you,
high
bro.
school
That's what's
diploma.
up,
There we
bro.
go.
I'm proud of
That's
you,
what it
bro.
do. Let me see. Let me see. And real correct me, because like I said, when we talk about diabetes, it's basically that the organs that secrete hormones have just been fried. And
Yo,
hypertension ain't nothing but pressure.
a lot of times what we don't discuss in our community is adrenal fatigue, and that's the glands that sit on top of your kidneys. And when you in a heightened stress mode, producing adrenaline and shit like that, you know, your adrenal glands get to cracking. So for the duration of most of the day, most people are in what's called a beta brain wavelength. That's the same brain wavelength you are in when you're doing testing, or you know, something that you have to be heightenedly focused
Right.
and analytical and logical.
Right.
So most times you're supposed to shift from beta back to one of the other ones, either
Right.
theta or alpha. Like it's just
Yeah.
like shifting the car and shit, you
Uh-huh.
know. So a lot of times, most of us stay in that beta brain wavelength to the point where our sympathetic nervous system is triggered, and what it does is it tells your body we're under stress. We may need additional mobility, so it takes the blood from our internal organs and shit like that, and pump it to our legs and hands just in case we got to run or swing off. So I mean that's cool for a period of time, but most of us are in that for the duration of the day, and your internal organs and the rest of your body going without all that surplus of blood that it usually would have had around it against the fucking up everything.
There you go. There you go. Shout out to Rail, man. And and dig this. He went to King and didn't even go to college, and look how smart he is. That just show you how smart King motherfuckers are. Stop
He
it.
didn't go to King when you went.
Right after I had established the foundation for what was to
No,
come for Negrodom, he
no,
came. I
no.
graduated, he became a freshman the next year. It's
I
He didn't
went
just
to
go to
you
King when
can't
you
rewrite
did.
the book. You can't rewrite the book.
I graduated '01, but I did go to
Okay,
UWM for
it
two
was a little bit
years.
after it was a
But
little bit after I built it. But okay.
I spent most of my time in the pool hall trying to get my tuition and book money back. So
Oh shit. You didn't tell about that, right? Uh
yeah.
Ernest said, I admit, I let one Trump to go to jail take up too much of my brain space. Even if it's something that simple. Listen, and we want to go deep, deep, deep. What you tripping off of that's petty as fuck? Because all of us got something that's petty as shit and we tripping off of it, right? And I'm just like looking through, it's almost like an audit. It's almost like a mental audit. I don't need for it to be National Grief Awareness Day, because this is something that I just do periodically anyways, which is I clean out my locker, right? I clean out my locker because a lot of shit gets caught in the filter. And sooner or later you say, damn, the flow done slowed down. Let me see what's popping. And so I will clean out my locker. And I will say, well, what's going on? What's troubling you? Where you at? What got you in the mode? And you catch yourself doing something, all of a sudden you slipping. I haven't slipped into points where I say, you know what? I am drinking too much goddamn alcohol. Holy shit, I'm getting faded every night. Holy shit. What the fuck is stressing you? That's the only thing that helps me from continuing to drink too much. At that point, I'll say, well, you know what? Let me chill for a minute. All right. The mission
hmm
now is to chill for a minute, and whatever I was trying to deal with when I was getting fucked up, I'm gonna deal with it when I got a sober mind. See, that's what I'm saying. An internal mental audit. But the fact that it's National Grief Awareness Day today, and I have a show tonight, and it's called Peace of Mind, I decided to ask everybody in the 414 how y'all doing. Look at all the bullshit we dealing with. How y'all doing? We can all play tough. Yeah, motherfucker, you know me. I'm out here living. I do what the fuck I do and all this shit. Yo, tough ass cry at night. You say, I bet you gonna cry in the car. And if you ain't, maybe you should. Maybe you shedding some tears about what's grieving you will help you. Ain't that kind of like a purge or a detoxification? And say, let me get this shit off my chest. Eagle Eye Shaw said, I'm learning I need some help. I get mad and be snapping over a lot of stuff lately. There we go. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want right there. Outlaw family, tell me how y'all doing. If you realize there's been some bullshit lately, you like, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Shit been rough lately. I've been through this, that, and the third. And man, I find myself just kind of bugging out a little bit. I snapped the other day over, let's do that tonight. Let's have that kind of conversation. That's an organic conversation. And it's also very much solution based because it helps us deal with what's actually fucking us up, which is supposedly the generational trauma, right? Motherfucker born mad. Did you not just hear Rail's synopsis on this whole hormonal overflow? Like I said, when your shit's supposed to be able to go back and you're supposed to be able to shift down, but as a black person, your shit is up from the time you get up in the morning is some shit to the time you lay down. And some of y'all can't even sleep because of the shit that's happening overnight based on what you did during the day. Motherfucker sleep and grieve at the same time. Mama Jenkins said, you know, KB, when my son got murdered, I was traumatized for many years due to the continuation of other people getting murdered by police officers. I thought that becoming involved in fighting for justice was my way of healing, but due to me becoming more involved in other people's problems and becoming mentally and physically ill, I had to stop and seek help myself. I knew I wasn't beating on no dead tree.
Yeah.
That's listen, when you decide to extend yourself and say, let me help. This is what I'm saying, man. Sometimes hanging around your guys that you knew, that you came up from the dirt with, knee high to a flea, all they do is bring drama and grief and stress. Because your shit can be going good, but if he called you on some and he in some shit, you automatically in it. So you become a part of the bullshit, right? And I say to her, I went through this. I talk about it all the time. The reason why I even decided to even do anything grassroots and do the Panther shit is because we were doing Outlaw Radio / Chocolate City. We were talking about all these issues in the city. I said, it's not enough for me to sit here in this studio and just talk about it. I want to go out here and do it, right? And I went out there and I tried to get involved and be in the community and be on the front lines. And all it did was bring fucking stress. It just brought stress. So I said, John, fuck this shit. Let me get back to what I was best at doing. And since I've been doing that, everything's been sucker free. Shine, you all right? I'm asking everybody else. You all right? You look like you took a you off that shit? You okay? The sugar booger? What's good?
Nah, I'm only running off of 3 hours of sleep, man. And
Well, I
yeah.
didn't mean to interrupt your beauty
No, it's
rest.
not you, bro. I mean,
I
shit.
sent you a link because normally you say, where my link? So tonight
I
I sent
know,
it in and
man.
you
I
act like you
told
never
people I
seen
would
one
talk
before.
about something. Don't start no mess with me, KB. Shit. I'm good, boss.
Okay. Erica Hunt said, in honor of grief day, I get tripped. She said, I get tripped over on two things, being a fatherless child and going in foster care. If that bothers you, there we go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about, man. Look, you can put your ego in a bag and leave it outside, right? Tell a friend and tell a friend. It's okay for you to say what bothers you. When you get to the point where people got you thinking, well, I can't say nothing about what's wrong with me, then you really a victim. If you really stressing about something, you got to get that shit out. And she said she was a fatherless child and she was in foster care. So this is something that bothers her every day. No matter what happens, no matter what height you ascend to, that thing is always standing behind you like, remember me? So you got to figure out a way to put that dude out the room. You got to get rid of Freddy Krueger. Shout out to Crystal Ship and Control C LLC and Tyson Gassi and Kamar with House of Vitality at the Sherman Phoenix. Crystal said it's been a roller coaster of emotions over the last few weeks. I've had some hard cries and some frustrating days. I've increased my meditation and prayer life. I've had to isolate until my spirit was right. It also has taught me and reminded me of how much I've overcame with the help of my creator in the last decade. Loving it. Loving it. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. It's okay. When you
Yeah,
get it
yeah.
out, you say, man, because it's one thing to say, I don't know what's wrong with me. But it's another thing to say, you know what? I know exactly what's wrong with me. And I know exactly what I need to do. If you are able to say that, then you are in a good space. And we all got something. Like, I tell people all the time, I don't think I ever even came close to being the same person that I was after my mother passed. My life is uh defined for me in two periods. It's before she passed and it's after she passed. The world, the sunset ain't looked the same since my mother left this earth, right? And it's there every day. Like I said, it's that my father as well. I don't want to dismiss that. But the way my mother's played out, it was a traumatizing experience for me personally, emotionally. And it took me a long time to recover. I was headed in one direction. I veered off and went totally to another place when it happened. But I can understand that it still bothers me. So when I get around the holidays, especially Thanksgiving, and I know I ain't gonna get no dressing, and I know I ain't gonna get, the deviled eggs and my German chocolate cake. And when it comes to when I know I need something and somebody gonna put me straight and say, hey boy, this is what you need to do, and do it out of love, right? I have to say, okay, it's moms ain't here to do that. You got to do that for yourself. So I can put it out there. I saw my cousin's brains on the floor my senior year of high school, my best guy. And that was 1994. What I'm saying is shit has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
We just came up with the phrase, but it's always been true. Life is truly lifing, right? So Crystal Ship said, not having my pops and grandfather around to witness this me hurts daily. My dad died 2 months before I got my bachelor's degree. 2 months. I never even got the chance to just, you know what I mean? Pops, man, let me come pick you up, to take you to breakfast, man. What you want? Where you want to go? Pops, I got you this slick ass suit. Man, you need to get you a whip, man. I never got a chance to do it. So this is what I'm saying. Shit's hanging over our heads, but we won't admit it, man. And that's why we all, that's why we end up, when it does come out, and they say pressure bust pipes, when it does come out, it comes out as an explosion. This motherfucker went on a rampage. He went Miller Coors on a bitch, right? And y'all know what I'm talking about when I say Miller Coors. That was a buildup. That was fucking with that brother for a very long time and him having no outlet. And you don't want to Miller Coors up, man. You don't want to have to Glock up and go to work that morning. And it's important to avoid that. We got to do stuff like this. Fellowship, right? A lot of people underestimate the power of fellowship with like-minded individuals. So solitude is good. Let's see when we can come on Outlaw Radio and just pontificate. It becomes an even more enlightening experience. I am on my collegiate words tonight. I still owe the government for this shit. Y'all get that cash out, man. Biden about to hit us up with, he couldn't get them student loans forgiven. I need some cash. How y'all feel, man? Kamar, how you doing, Kamar? How you doing? I know you got your business running, man. You how is the witch doctor doing?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm feeling good. I try to monitor myself on how I'm feeling every day, you know what I mean? Because it's a lot of work. So I try to make sure I get rest whenever I can, keep my mind at ease. Like I say, I try to use discernment on what affects me, what around me is affecting me. You know what I'm saying? Who's projecting bad energy on me, or they bullshit? You know what I'm saying? All that. You know what I mean? And just knowing that I feel like I'm doing a good job at it. So like I feel like I'm feeling all right. Just say
Yes.
no.
Yeah, and like you said, at this stage of our lives, you basically have to employ the things you've learned, and sometimes you learn more from a mistake
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
a mishap.
Lessons in everything. It's lessons
Yeah,
in the wins and the losses.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And you got to learn from them.
Yeah. I truly believe in it when they say addition by subtraction. I believe in that. I believe in that wholeheartedly. So I would say to my boy Rail, man, because you don't, you always so on point and informed, but and I respect your privacy. But how you doing, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, man. And one of the reasons I am good is not that shit don't happen. It's just that I gain the tools and knowledge to help me process the shit that happens. You know what I'm saying? So every morning I try to start my day with I wake and bake, try to get my morning movement in, and then I do my reflection and evaluating. Okay, what about yesterday that I wish I could have did in that day, and can I do it today? Type shit. So I heard something that said that your options are only as numerable as your awareness is. So we got to learn new shit. We got to learn. I heard the brother say he found himself being angry a lot. I got a whole chapter in my book about emotional intelligence and how when I was going through my divorce and shit, I used to go out just to like stupid shit, fam. Like I used to go out hoping a motherfucker did some shit, and it wasn't even like them. It's just that I had an issue going on in my life that I couldn't address or fix. So getting into bullshit with other people would have been at least a release, an outlet for me to get that energy out. Like when I was going through my divorce, all I wanted to do was fucking fight, man. They were both ways to channel my aggression. You know what I'm saying? So I so I used to find myself like I'm going to the bar just to see if a motherfucker gonna bump into me tonight. Like just stupid shit like that could have cost me my life. You know what I'm saying? And then I had to come to terms with no matter how many people you go out there trying to fight, you still can't fight this issue about your kids might being took away in a divorce type shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes a lot of people who quick to jump into drama and shit like that, it's because they can't really fight the issue that's weighing on them. So we have to find other ways to like I put in there, we have to find productive ways to channel that emotion until we are stable and calm enough to evaluate that emotion and see what that emotion needs. A lot of time, anger is your subconscious telling you something needs to change. Either your surroundings, your situation, or at the very least, your perception of a situation. Sometimes when we are anxious, anxiety and fear, they require knowledge. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to fear shit that you fear the unknown, so get to know that shit. So it's just things like that. I've equipped myself with the tools because sometimes I still find myself being anxious. And then I remind myself that anxiety is caused by thinking of some future shit that hasn't even took place yet. That you're basically anxiety is caused by you imagining the worst. So you have to train yourself to imagine the best and work towards the best. Pray for the best, but do whatever work you can in that shit to favor the best. Depression, a lot of times, is us focusing on some past pain or some current lack type shit. So now channel your focus to figuring out how you can address and overcome that past pain, or what obstacles you need to overcome to address your current lack. A lot of time we feel hopeless because we're planless. And if we can sit down and develop a plan, that give us a little bit of hope. Hope will allow us to see another motherfucking day, understanding that just tomorrow some shit could change for the better.
That's right.
Right. I think knowledge trumps fear.
Come on, let me get Mama Jenkins. Mama Jenkins says, each day I carry a load of pain, but also know that I'm not like I was yesterday, but I won't complain. Leon said he gonna come down to the Sherman Phoenix and booty watch with you. I guess that's how he...
Hey, I don't booty watch.
Right. Well, I mean, he didn't say with you. I added that. He said you need to have the smoothies in a larger size. Uh,
I got
uh,
him.
he said, Rail, you was right about old girl, silence and secrecy. Um, Mama Jenkins said, learning is a process of life. The journey is real and forever.
Right,
Eric
right.
Hey,
Hunt said, the story
I was
of,
about to say knowledge trumps fear, right? And a lot of the time when we get upset, not all the time, but a lot of the time it's because we don't understand something. It's something we don't understand. Like Rail said, it's a perception that we got wrong. You know what I mean? So you tend to get upset. So I really feel like knowledge can trump that also.
she said, the story of the man at the brewery is sad, but they're still mistreating people over there. I bet you they are. They didn't take
Hmm.
no necessary steps to prevent it. I'm sure their hiring practices are still the same. Eagle Eye Shaw said, anger, fear, and emotions. Now, Sean, are you stable? Because I noticed you was like moving the couch and
I
you
wasn't
know,
moving no couch. I was moving around. Shit,
watching the Muppet Show and all
whatever,
kinds of shit.
sucker.
But I
Hmm.
don't think,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I
stable.
would
You
have to,
stable?
I would have to ask you this because I've seen you out on, on Front Street with the
Yeah.
doing what you're doing for the community, trying to get the gas station closed, and you do a lot in personalizing the struggle of those individuals in the neighborhood and the community that you come from. But I don't know if anybody has asked you in this week or these 2 weeks or these 3 weeks since you've been high energy, Sean, how you doing? Are you okay? What's up with you? I don't know if anybody said that to you. So I'm saying it to
Uh,
you tonight.
I I appreciate it. I'm I don't know, KB. Um, sometimes I'm good. You know what I mean, and sometimes I sit here and think about him dying less than 1,000 feet from his house.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know, man. Shit. You know, sometimes you got to run on fumes, man, and
Running on fumes. There you
yeah,
go.
you know what I mean.
There you go.
I'm I'm a little tired, but you know,
Right.
somebody got
It's
to fight.
right.
Somebody to keep on going, man. And if I can, maybe I can motivate some other people to fight just as hard. So I'm good.
Deacon Mikey Davis, my brother. What's happening with you, Mikey? How you doing tonight?
Come see me tomorrow, Mike.
Outlaw Radio on a Wednesday night, man. Peace of mind. And I understand some people are not mature enough to really rock with an idea or a concept like this of a show. Um, Kamar said something very pivotal to me one time. I was really upset about. I see people do platforms and it ain't informative. They ain't talking about shit. I personally can give a fuck what a celebrity is wearing, doing, riding in, who they having sex with. I don't care about none of that. Politics is politics, and I think that it's a game that's played on our back. We're not yet really a part of. But what I do care about is things that are things that are pertinent to the people. And sometimes those conversations are difficult to have. So as black men to say to each other, man, are you okay? Instead of always saying, man, fuck you, man, or what you want to do, or what's happening. Oh man, I seen them niggas who we had whatever with. Sometimes if we could just say, hey man, you all right? You good? Like, cause you see, when you see us wilding out the way we do, you obviously somebody's not dealing with their mentals. I gotta turn their TV down. I can hear TD Jakes in the background. Um, who is this? This is Mama Jenkins said I try to reach out to Sean each day, but his load is heavy because he's dealing with a bunch of different personalities. Anytime you are undertaking these people, listen, when you give a group of people a chance to complain to you, you are the lightning rod for what they see that in the community that's not working. And okay, well, I'm gonna tell him all day, every day. It's somebody walking up to you saying, "Yeah, my cousin this, my friend that, my auntie this, and this happened to me." And so you all day you just taking in all this. This is energy.
See,
Kamar,
but see, but
something else
you
Kamar
know,
showed me. It's energy, and it's you absorbing it. So it can become very heavy, and it'll wear your ass out. What's happening, man?
um, I one of the ladies that helped raise me lost her husband last night, and I went over there today. She was crying. Um, she started crying when I gave her a hug. I say I'm her first son, right? She got 6 daughters. When they first moved into the neighborhood, her husband used to run me down the street every day because I was trying to talk to his daughters. Um, but she told me she was in so much pain, man. And KB, man, we sit on this show and we talk about solutions. We share people's pain and try to help them recover and do all that, right? Uh, I was on hiatus for like 4 or 5 years, man. Am I tired? A little bit. Am I too tired to help somebody release some of that pain though, so that we can move forward? Am I too exhausted to be that cup that you pour into? No, man, because this what we promise people that we here for to help figure shit out. You know what I mean? And uh, if I gotta stay up 30 days straight, man, to see this accomplished, right? It means that other people get to experience what we say we want them to experience. And for me, man, it's walking in my purpose. You know, to cause pain and then experience experience that pain, the same pain that you cause sometimes, right? Um,
I don't this is the thing. Most people don't
yeah,
know how to articulate. They don't know. Look, let me tell you something cuz we talk about I want to frame this for us in Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a very violent place right now, right?
yeah,
Very, on a lot of different levels. It's very violent. And you can get your shit split up here, right? And we always say, well, I want to avoid it. One of the things that brothers my age group say to each other often when we see each other, say, what you up to? You say, man, staying out the way, right? Staying out the way. But it creeps up behind you when you try to stay out the way. I just early before the summer even started, Yayo the Don from the neighborhood, 19 Atkinson. Rest in peace to Yayo the Don. Good dude. Younger dude, good dude, real good dude. Loses his life. And he was before he passed, his cousin Vic, Big Victor West from the neighborhood, 19 perishes. In the shadows of him, there's Moo, there's Tamara Kingsby from the neighborhood. Everybody loved Moo, who perishes. And then you come right along with T Rock and his partner Twin. This is a hole in your soul if you're me, because it's and I got cousins, rest in peace, my cousin Katie, who just perished a couple weeks ago, right? My cousin Jim in Texas, my older cousin's husband, who perished. So this has been a rough summer. This ain't been no easy go of it, man. This ain't, if you out here right now and you fluttering around like ain't nothing happening to you and you telling me you all good, I tell you it's a goddamn lie. You're a liar. And the truth ain't in you, as my mama used to say. Uh Mikey Dave, and I'm not trying to be sad, y'all. Really, I'm not, because I feel like when we can get this stuff out, you'll leave in a better space. Sometimes when you hear something, you say, no, you know what? I wasn't even thinking about that. That's real right there. Then you start to process and you leave in a better place. We'll get to some other stories, but I just want for black men to be able to say, hey man, nah, I ain't all right. Come on, what we always say, it's okay not to be okay. That's what I would say to people in Milwaukee right
Yeah.
now. It's okay for you. If you say, no, Kev, I ain't good, that's okay. That's fine. Uh Deacon Mikey Davis said, I tell Sean I really admire the struggle that's in him. He's really walking the walk. He said he feels me. Shout out to you, brother. We all deal with it, man. Cycle of life. Mama Jenkins said it's good to be available for all, but your health will make you stop and realize when to take a break. I was gonna tell Sean you're better than me because when I put myself in that position of being out in the community and actually hearing some of the stories and seeing some of the conditions that people was living in, going into some of these neighborhoods and seeing what they was really like. Because the one thing people can't take from us with the Panthers is we patrolled. So we went in some of the worst motherfucking neighborhoods after dark and patrolled. And it was like, dude, I'm putting my ass on the line, right? Like you hear people saying, yeah, we go somewhere and meet up, and it's the scene of a homicide that just happened the day before where three people got murdered here. They're having a vigil. You start to take all that shit in a week, you're gonna be drowsy as a bitch. You're gonna be drowsy. So I had to step away and say, you know what? Let me focus on numero uno just for a second, because that is extended to my children, my family, and the ones who I love. So I'm not taking anything away from them. I don't want to overexert myself. So definitely if you out here, and this goes out to anybody out there, if you're doing anything in the community, shout out to you. This ain't no hater shit. What's popping, man?
So, I looked at it a little bit differently, KB. I looked at it like I had to be out here if I wanted to keep my kids safe, right? In order to save my sons, I had to save other people's sons.
Okay.
You know, and that's how I approach it, man. I don't want to see nobody kid kill nobody's kid, and
Right.
the only way to prevent that is to place myself around those hot spots. My kids don't be in the hot spots, right? Um, but shit, they be in the spots that them kids visit. That
Right.
you know what I mean. So if they know, well, damn, dude, pops cool as hell. Dude, pops be trying to holler at me. Dude, pops be doing this, or Mr. Moore. I remember Mr. Moore telling me this. I remember OG said this, and if I can just play something, man, that'll make them, pause, right, and think about something I said, man. That's the
Go-
sacrifice, you know what I mean?
Goes a long way. It goes like,
So
my pops was one of them dudes who everybody always reveres when I see them if they grew up in our neighborhood. Man, Mr. Barnes, man. Mr. Barnes was the Mr. Barnes, man, Mr. Barnes. And I didn't understand it as a youngster, why he would take his time to be able to converse with young brothers all the time, especially if he recognized they didn't have a father figure. I was too young to understand it. A little bit selfish, a little bit spoiled, and I'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like, what? And he would always say, he doesn't have a father. Everybody don't have what you have. Not breaking his arm to give himself credit, but saying like your understanding is even like you take it for granted, right? You don't you have no
Mm-hmm.
idea what it's like for that young man. Mama Jenkins says, speak truth, KB. Let me get this up here.
Hey, and not
She
only
said,
that, man,
speak
but
truth,
it's
KB.
about
That's what was happening to me,
it's,
seeing these families of these police shootings with nothing and no one to inform this on them on what steps to take. Go ahead, Kamar. I want you to lose your thought.
yeah, I was just gonna say it's about creating a world that your kids can grow up in or your grandkids. You know what I mean? So if you feel like it's something is right, man, you're supposed to speak up and say something about what's right to
Okay.
help that energy grow. You know what I'm saying? Plant that seed. You know what I'm saying? Because you got kids and grandkids that's coming up in this world.
Right. I would even ask, I would even venture to ask people who are listening, ain't it cool if we just take one day off of bullshit and just say, you know what, let me mentally let me be focused on my mental health today. Let me think about what is my issue and how can I deal with it? And if you've been dealing with it long term and it's been steadily festering, then I think you absolutely need to say, I'm probably gonna need some help with this. So I don't know who you love, or I don't know who loves you. I don't know where you're at, but I think you need to find some way to get yourself help, because if you don't, it's just gonna get worse. Gonna get worse, right? Shit gets bad. Erica said, "How you think I feel when I hear about the injustice that happens in the workplace and people still don't want to stand up to the bully?" Man, my brother Bear Me, shout out to my brother Bear Me, who was on the show with me the other night, and he had a perspective of how frustrated and how tired and how worn out he was by the struggle. And he was saying, "Well, it's just time to start shooting and looting and burning and killing and stealing." He just had this, and it sounded wild.
Bear me said, kill everybody. Come on.
And I understood what he was saying, but it was, for me, it was more metaphoric, and
Right,
maybe that's just because I know my brother.
right.
But in our conversation after the show, we were able to kind of get it, put it more into the air, because I said to him, like I'm saying to the 414, "You good? You all right? How you doing, man? What's going on?" And he was able to kind of, what I really realized was that sometimes you can love something or somebody or a thing too much, where you become disillusioned by it, and ultimately just be like, "Fuck it, man." I don't. I look at the story of Huey P. Newton, conspiracy theories aside. People can say, well, they did this or that to him, and I'm not going to rule out any of it when they had him incarcerated. But ultimately, look at his story, how it actually transpired. And I'm not going to tip you off. Read the whole thing, right? I've read a lot of books on the movement that was, and I'm not saying I believe all of it, but there's some truth to how it manifested itself. Go check it out. It's just an interesting reading. Check out Huey P. Newton's story. Just go check it out. Ace Cooley said, "Too much negative will mess with your sanity. I know what it's like to turn every one problem on because of having a big heart, but you got to take a break for your mental health, because if you don't, you end up forgetting about your own family or snapping and doing something you really regret." Pressure bust right there. Mama Jenkins said, "You got to take times for yourself. My 100-year-old dad, take some time for yourself in the bathroom, close the door, and sit your ass down. Yeah, love on yourself in the bathroom with the door closed." I had to say something stupid to break the monotony, right? People like, man, they on some emotional shit. No, it's just emotional inventory. I can't dumb myself down. That's something I'm realizing too. I have a hard time dumbing myself down. So if I'm gonna talk to y'all, we're gonna talk about some real shit, right? That's why you rarely ever hear me talk about Beyonce or Jay-Z or Moneybag Yo or Lil Slim or whoever the fuck. Because it's just not, none of that stuff. I live in the podverse, so I'm always on YouTube, and I'm just kind of filtering through all these different platforms and what they talking about. A lot of shit I just scroll past, because it's like that. I can't get that time back if I waste 5 minutes sitting there reading or listening to that bullshit.
Right, right.
You ever wasted some time and then sat there thinking, I can't get that time back? That was some bullshit. I should
All
have
the
kept it
time.
moving, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I want black people in Milwaukee to think about, we just went through this incredible, these last 2-3 months have been hellacious. They've been crazy. Even up to the Montgomery brawl. You think about the last 2 months of what we just defined in Milwaukee as summer. There's been some ass whooping, some shootings. It's been some stolies, some horrific car accidents. Yeah, we just had a mass shooter targeting black people in Jacksonville, Florida. Look at me and tell me you all right. You know, fuck how much money you got. You all right? I'm good. No, you ain't. You shaking in your boots, right? Admit it. Get it off your chest. Call us. Let us know how you feel. It could be something good. You might say, "Kev, I don't know about y'all, but I'm feeling good than a motherfucker." I will still
Yeah.
think you're lying, but you can call and share that too. My mama say, "Call in and test a lie." My mom used to always say that in church. Oh, here come them goddamn test the lies. Um, and to counter this, did y'all see, now the police actually went to Sherman Park? I believe it was Sherman Park, and did the water balloon fight and the games and gave snacks to the kids, and people said this is a beautiful thing. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. It's in the People's News Network. I think it was Sherman Park. I know they had like a water
Oh,
balloon fight, and people were saying like this is a great thing for the police to come in and really, deal with the kids like this. And I'm not going to be a stick in the mud. It's a good thing anytime kids get to have fun and smile. But I would like to know if there was anybody out there in community-based organizations that are already in that park or in that area who were allowed to participate. Because if you don't communicate with those individuals, then your effort is fruitless as well. Because you basically came in one day, and then the next day you became officer overseer again. Like your contact with the community and your communication with the community has to be consistent for it to work. Is that the narrative of advertising that you have to hear a message at least 3 times a day for it to stick? Ain't that what they say? You know, in radio, they say you need to be heard at least 3 times a day for the message to resonate. So if you just show up one day and do a water balloon fight and give them some hot dogs and play some games with them, but then the next day you go back to being on their ass, what impact did it have? I'm not downplaying what they did. Shout out to them for that. What y'all think about them having the water balloon fight in the park?
Eh.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. You know, I mean, if
It's
that's how
something.
you
I
feel.
mean, it's something. You know what but
Right.
okay. Did they get paid to be there? That's what I
I
like to
don't know if
know.
they were on the clock. I don't know if
Was
they
it
were on the clock or
voluntary?
not.
Because if they was on the clock, they was told to be there.
Right. Maybe they got an opportunity to volunteer. I don't know. I don't know the
Right.
parameters.
That's what I'm at. That's what I'd like to know.
Okay. I mean, if they were paid to be there, like, does that make it? Mama Jenkins said, "More taxpayers' money."
If they paid, if they was paid to be there, that sucks. Because that mean they was told to be there. It ain't genuine.
Okay, there you go. Okay, feel that. Dion, what's popping, man?
This not Dion.
Oh shit, I thought this was Dion.
That's not Dion, bro.
No,
No, you don't
no.
sound
It's
nothing
Eric.
like Dion.
Nothing
It's
like
Erica. What's
Definitely
Dion.
don't
popping? What's
sound
popping?
like Dion.
What's popping? So I know I've gotten involved with Von May. So shout out to Von May because he's been trying to do some amazing work over there at Sherman Park. So when I heard about this story, I thought the police just got involved in something that he was already working on because Von done threw a kickball party out there. He been out there playing water balloon fights with him one weekend. He been real active in that park still. I just thought the police eventually stopped just staring at the crowd of people and got out the car and got involved. That's what I thought it was. But I'm interested to find out what actually was this something that the police organized by themselves or what?
Yeah, but that's where he's always been, right? Like, and so I remember he was showing movies over there and doing s'mores night and all kinds of stuff. Like, that's years. It's been. That's why I asked the question: did they come in and say, "Hey, we recognize what y'all doing, and we just want to contribute, and we want to add to it, and y'all come on out here with us," or did they just show up like, "Okay, we gonna do our thing today, y'all good, like y'all can chill at the crib today"? Because if that's the way they did it, then it means nothing. I'm like,
Right.
Kamar, if you had to be paid to be there, it's not as genuine.
Right.
I
It
don't
ain't
know.
genuine.
There may be some officers who said no, I volunteered to go.
Right.
Normally you'll volunteer for something like that. I would think they union.
Right. Don't get me wrong. I ain't knocking on them. That's just a
Right,
question I wondered. You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like, were
right,
they
right.
told to be there, or
I
was
don't
it
know. I
something?
seen them.
Go ahead.
My
Um,
bag. I seen them walk some book bags though one
okay.
time.
Yeah, the book bag giveaway thing is, that's a very common,
But that was one officer dropping off two garbage bags of book bags.
right. That listen, I wanted if they didn't go in and talk to the people who are on ground zero, working in that community every day, I have a little tip for them. That it needs to be consistent and constant, right?
Yeah.
If you come in and do it one day, it means nada to us, especially in that area. That area needs consistent support, and it's a powder keg. You seen what happened before when the gas station burned down. It's a powder keg. So I would encourage them. Here's your opportunity to get in where you fit in, and talk to the people, and don't come in and try to dictate to them. Let them tell you what's going on. Will that happen? Probably not. Every time we say something that might be a good idea that could possibly be done in the city of Milwaukee that might curb crime or solve some of the dysfunction, we have to be reminded about the disproportionate conviction rate for black offenders, as well as the percentage of the prison population that we make up, which actually floats northern Wisconsin and keeps these small towns and the people who work for the Department of Correction employed so they can send their children to school and maintain their boats and their pontoons that they go up to Madison on the weekends and float in, right? So it's a conflict of interest for them to help us. We don't even have to look around and say, well, why they? We know why. Because they want the system to keep rolling. This is why it's so important for us to demand that we be involved. You don't get to just come to this park and get overtime if that was the case, or just come up here and then run back to Sheboygan where you actually live, because we know since Skippy Walker took that that residency requirement up, most of those motherfuckers don't live in the city, right? And I hope you felt good about yourself going back to Cedarburg that night saying, well, I really did good by those niggers. I went and gave them some water balloons. We need more than water balloons. That's what I'm saying. When you see this shit on the news, when you see the tax hike, when you see the situations that they was able to put on that shit, you gotta feel some kind of way. You gotta be perturbed and bothered by some of this shit that done happen in this goddamn state and in this city and in this country. If you ain't, something is wrong with you. Maybe you might be a sociopath. Hell, you could walk through fire with gasoline draws on and not even be perturbed. I happen to not be built like that. I'm affected by shit that happens to my people in my community. Because like I said, it creeps right back up to me. I can say, well, I'm off the streets, been off the streets, ain't been in no street shit for years, ain't done nothing really illegal for years, but that didn't stop my homie from getting killed. That didn't stop, my people that I hold near and dear to be murdered. So that means you have to constantly try to contribute something to what's going on, man. Even if it's just pulling the young jit to the side, putting some knowledge in his head, saying, "Say, man, it's a better way than this, brother." And I know it shit sounds, wishful and corny, but it's entirely possible. I also seen that they gave there's a mural now in Chicago for Chairman Fred Hampton, the chairman, and shout out to Fred Hampton Jr. and shout out to my sister Jazzy, who brought Fred Hampton Jr. on here. And I know y'all didn't see the show. It was a couple years ago, but it was a very dope interview with Fred Hampton Jr. Around the time when the movie came out. What was it? Judas? The Judas? What was it, Kamar? The Judas? What was that movie? You muted. You muted. You muted.
Black Judas.
Yeah, Black Judas.
Okay. So yeah, he came on here and we talked about the miscarriage of justice that was the murder of Fred Hampton Sr., Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. And they got a little perturbed at me because I kept saying Fred Hampton and they wanted me to say Chairman Fred Hampton. I thought it was semantics. I understand it. I understand their reverence for him though, so it was just kind of
That
funny.
nigga's finna send them people up here on you.
Yeah, they was pissed with me. Like they was in the chat room saying, "Say Chairman." And
Motherfucker.
once you start telling me to say something, the way my mind set up, I automatically be like, well, I ain't saying shit now. But
right, did you really start blowing it?
right, then I'm
I ain't
really
even trying to now.
Judas and the Black Messiah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ernest
Yeah,
Walker.
that's it right there.
But they're putting up he has a mural along with some other things going on to honor his memory. If you know the story of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr., it is one of the most crazy examples of the government. If you want to talk about what the government has done to us, you want to talk about the conspiracies that have been committed against us, especially with Gay Edgar Hoover and COINTELPRO and all that kind of shit. The Fred Hampton thing is just outrageous. Just even coming into the home, him being drugged by an informant and murdered in the bed with his pregnant fiance, and they left the murder scene wide open. Especially in the 60s, uniformed officers coming in with machine guns, right? Oh, hundreds of bullets shot into the room, only a few shot out, right? His bodyguard murdered. It's one of the most egregious things you've ever seen. So anything that he gets that they are able to procure in the name of Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. is well deserved. And I always tell y'all, if y'all want to see a dope documentary, go and watch Clay Bone Sloan's The Bastard of the Party. the bastards of the party. And he talks about the systematic murder of those who would have been leaders coming from the uh Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, just all of the individuals who would have been pivotal leaders that were black men murdered between 1960 and 1971. And most of them, no justice even comes from it. But so you get to the 70s and the 80s and you have the birth of the Crips and Bloods because there's a leadership vacuum. And so these were the would-be babies of the revolutionary generation. It's called Bastards of the Party. It's a great documentary, and the way he breaks it down is dope. Claiborne Sloan, he was in Training Day, and he's actually a bounty hunter and some other blood gang, but it's a dope documentary. Ruben
Nah, move.
Anderson, hello from Phoenix. How you doing, Ruben? Man, sunshine and whatnot. What was you saying, Sean?
I think it die move.
Yeah, he has like a dual blood membership, Nickerson Gardens and Bounty Hunters or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know. I would have to ask the homie Westside Zeladon from South Central who could explain it to me. Tiasha said, I know this is off topic, but Sean and Rail, did you switch up spots? Or is this margarita getting to me? Having a beverage is one way to relax your mind. But they probably did switch shots because I think Rail stepped out. Sometimes you can go in and out of the studio and it'll put you where it want to put you when you come back. So they probably did switch spots. I seen that too, and I don't trip because I see it. I see it happen all the time. Ace said they've always used money to find a sellout to infiltrate. The day we value the community and our people over $1, nobody. If we did, nobody could touch us. Dion said the title chairman is respect. I know, I know, Dion. I know this. That's what I'm saying. I didn't have a problem with it, but it just was because it was such a dope interview, and I was in this conversation with him, and I was saying like the murder of Fred Hampton, and they was saying chairman, and I was like, what they talking about? So you're right. It is respect. It's big. It's enough respect, right? And that's why I allowed myself to be corrected in that regard. I wasn't tripping. Like, don't tell me what the fuck to say. I said the natural rebel in me when somebody tells me what to do makes me want to say, shut the fuck up. But I didn't. I respected it. It was dope. And shout out to Big Mike Kimmett too, who was part of helping make that happen. And he talked to them and said, he meant no disrespect. He just popping during the show. And I'm from Milwaukee, so we don't get that same reverence up here like they probably have in his immediate community. So shout out to him. What else we got? Man, I looked at this because I said, well, let me get this first because we keep talking about Arab-owned businesses in our community, right? We keep talking about almost everything they're doing in our community is foul. I said it. Almost every business that they have in our community is foul. It deals in poison. It deals in death.
Bro, they told you not to say that no more. They're gonna beat your ass.
It's cool. I'm look. Hey, let's go. I'm cool. Right? Don't let I know you see me with the cane, you think let's get him. All right, well, let's go. But even the restaurants, J&J's Fish, which I believe is run by Arabs, correct? Right?
Palestinians, I believe.
Okay,
But it's
Palestinian.
all, yeah. They're from the Middle East.
Right. Or the so-called Middle East, right? Or what
okay.
If you know.
New Americans. They're new Americans. But like
so they sell, they specialize in selling fried chicken and fish and fries and and cheese puffs and processed food. And I'm not saying, see, I stopped eating from there. We stopped supporting those type places a long time ago. But I see now that they're saying that they're selling us catfish, but it's not actually catfish. It's sway.
It's sway.
Right? Is it sway or sway?
Why?
Which is basically an Asian catfish carp hybrid. It's okay. So because a catfish in itself is already, unless you get it farm raised, and there's issues about farm raised fish, but catfish basically eat every piece of shit off the bottom of the water. Right? Don't get me wrong. I love a good catfish fillet with some hot sauce as much as the next man. But a catfish is essentially a bottom dweller, right? And it eats trash, right? It sits on the bottom. And I guess a sway is even nastier, I guess, right? Like, so when you go in there and you pay them catfish, and this is the kind you come in and say you selling catfish, but you selling me goldfish type shit. Somebody tell me what business initiative Arabs are involved in our community that are positive. Either you selling cigarettes, liquor, fried food, or you're a slumlord, right? It might be time for us to start talking about some exclusion, some removal.
It's all
But
shit that they don't fuck with too.
see, but
You
this
know
Right,
what I
the
mean? Everything they sell us, they don't fuck with.
right.
this the thing about that, KB. When you talk about removal, okay, uh, the only way to remove them is to remove the orders that continue to protect them. Okay, um, most of these places are either surrounded by violence activities. Um, they've gotten cited, right, and they keep getting chances. They have one of the most expensive lawyers in the state, Mr. Emil. Okay, and whatever power he wields is 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 stronger than the power of the people that elected them.
Okay,
Okay, um, we'll see next election though. We'll we'll see next election.
okay. There goes my challenge to all y'all super fired up pro black people in the streets who talk a good game but won't show up when it's time to hit that ballot. And then the excuse becomes, well, I ain't voting because they're gonna do what they want to do anyways. But okay, you can't be gung ho and low key at the same time, right? It's like sagging and flooding at the same time, right? Um, Rosalind Dion said, you can't say David without the crown as king. We talking about King David who slayed Goliath. I know I'm on some bullshit. I don't know about. I know Dion's gang banging.
Now, I
Um,
thought you was talking about that too until you
right,
made the joke. Shit.
right. I know what he's talking about, but I was like, because I don't. That's a reference I'm unfamiliar with. I didn't know you had to say king when you said that. Right. I don't think of anybody who I call king anything. Um. Let me see. She said, "Have you noticed that black men don't work in them restaurants? Have you asked yourself why?" I haven't questioned it. Because I have seen some brothers who work in there. But my point is, they have a whole agenda, and they're allowed to do business in our communities. And Sean, you said the older people, but I still go further to say the consumers. If we
Yeah,
wasn't
no,
buying,
no,
if
hold
we
on.
wasn't buying SWA, they
But
wouldn't have it.
KB, I've looked at these areas, man. Um, they're so cut off from other stuff, right? Other outlets, um, any outlet for healthy food, right? Looking at this gas station, I looked at what was around the gas station, right? The
Food
area,
desert.
the circumference, right? And you can go south. The nearest thing you have is a liquor store and then Walgreens or the old Lena's.
Gauss, yep.
Yeah, right. East, you got to go half a mile to get down to Congress, right? If you go north, you have this new shop, Exotic Snacks, in a very um stretched out economy over here. Um and was then you got to go down to Hampton, and then you go west, and it's either okay, I can stay here or I can go to the hot spot,
Okay.
right? If you go up towards Capitol West, there's two more gas stations, a Wendy's and a McDonald's.
Okay.
So the options that people have are very limited, right? Okay, I don't eat JJ's. I'm going to eat either Doc's, McDonald's, or Wendy's because they're within walking distance for a lot of people.
Well, if
It's
you walked up to Gauss, you could buy some fish, and I don't know how the
yeah.
quality of it, but you can cook it yourself. That's
Hold
not
on,
that far from that
you
gas
just
station.
said something though. You don't know the quality of it. it's probably the same quality that
Probably
their
swapped.
cousin
Okay.
selling, that their cousin selling down the street.
They all got the same plug.
Yeah, man. They all no, literally, they all use the same distributors. They shop at the
They
same
rock
store
with
for the
each other
old school
heavy.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
They got solidarity on fucking us over.
yes, and our leadership, they see this shit. They recognize this shit. They see how they have um basically forced us to make choices that are unhealthy. Any choice we make is unhealthy. So
Except for the choice to leave them alone.
what we must do. Now, I've spoken with some people that are interested in buying any building that becomes available, and they're willing to co-op with the community that they buy it in. So what we must do now is we must force them to sell these buildings. The only way
Mm.
to force them to sell these buildings is by not visiting that establishment. Now, it may be four in the surrounding area. So you cut off one, right? Cut him off completely. Make him sell. Make him sell. And then we move into that. And now we market ourselves as what we're selling, right? The products, and we send people to these other places, and we don't let our people go in there. They have to come to us.
Uh, Randy
Okay.
Jones said the campaign contributions. Shout out to Mark Ross. How you
Mm-hmm.
doing, my brother? He said, greetings, everyone. How you doing, my brother? It
Peace,
is
peace.
Outlaw Radio Peace of Mind on a Wednesday night. We started the show because it's National Grief
Oh
Awareness
shit.
Day. And we were talking amongst ourselves about us being okay. You eating good? You getting enough rest? You all right? You stressing? Yeah, some of y'all just need a woman. I know that to be true. Some of y'all need a woman. Erica Hunt said, I used to work for J&J's and none of the owners believe in hiring black men. I bet you they don't. I bet you they don't. When we find out what they really cooking the food with, and what black men tend to raise hell about some shit. Like, what the fuck? Dion, what's popping? I know this is Dion. What's happening, man?
Hey, what it do, man? Hey, kid. You my guy, man. You my guy. I fuck with you, man. Hey, but check it out though. I felt a little grief today, man, because I was on Facebook. I see one of my little peoples that died. I don't know what the situation was with her death, surrounded by her death, but it was sad though. She leave behind two little ones. She was off the zoo, on 28th and Burleigh. You understand? But yeah, though, man, every day, sometimes, like I tell people, I was chopping it up with, one of the guys at the job, white boy, because ain't nothing but white boys out here. And I was like, I don't know what you're going through personally, and you come to work every day with a smile on your face, but deep down inside, you can want to kill yourself. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of times, we be going through stuff, and we got to put our face on, because, men, we got machismo. We supposed to just walk outside every day, like ain't don't nothing be bothering us, and like life be straight, with me when I get to thinking about like when somebody passed away, it made me be like, man, life's short, I'm gonna blow this cash, I'm gonna go on a trip, try to just experience stuff, and a lot of times, I come to revelations within myself because I look at it like my success that I have is not for only me, but it was for people that once was with me to share so we could go on trips and have vacations and throw barbecues in my crib. I miss my grandfather. He been dead since '07. I was in a joint when he died, but he raised me though. Even when I was locked up, he still sending me money. Like I used to drive back and down the Ford to Chicago, but I ain't had no L's. Nigga running with dope and shit like that. But I hate that he never had a chance to be able to drive with me while I'm riding legal, or just to be like, son, I see you driving that truck. Or either my guy in Jackson, may he rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have probably had another crib down in Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? That's when I first started hitting the road, when I went down there to see him in 2010. And it just opened my eyes, because when you in Milwaukee and from Chicago, I'm only traveling back and forth. Like Chicago, when I left outside of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it seemed like I was in a whole, even now, even to this day, when I leave Milwaukee, I feel like I'm just somewhere else. but you know I represent Mad Murder Mill had broke off to the. You understand what I'm saying? But it's just, like I definitely feel, and I know all of us probably suffer from some things that, sometimes when we sit alone by ourselves, we think about like, damn, you know what I'm saying? It be what it be. I miss all my guys on 23rd and Locust. I used to be at the old head bar called Shag, down there. That's when I used to drink. We down there in the bar, little hole in the wall, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, it's like when I'm by myself, like when I'm driving down this road and I'm by myself and I think about everybody that have passed away. And I know one day I'm gonna have to join that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I want niggas like y'all to be like, man, that nigga Dion was a motherfucking fool. He was a real nigga. He represented the meal and the shot, and he was a motherfucking gangster till he died. You understand what I'm saying? However it go. So I'm gonna let you niggas go. I love you niggas. Hey, Bull, I'm gonna come down there this weekend for a little while, man. I need a large smoothie, man. Mango, you know what I'm saying? Hey, real, chop it up too. I be wanting to exchange numbers with you. Sometimes I be out on this road, man. I be needing a nigga just to chop it up with and get some of this logic and this knowledge from. And Kev, you already know, man. Much love, man. You niggas stay up, man. Love y'all, man.
All right,
One,
man.
two,
Sure. Peace.
7-4, goddammit. 7-4.
He cannot not gangbang, right? Not
And
gangbang.
a lot of people are. I mean, and then like you said, with it being a day to acknowledge grief, there I see a lot of people we are grieving, and the thing is, in our community, we aren't taught how to properly grieve because shit, life still be lifing while we going through our daily shit, in spite of whether you grieving a lost loved one or even a dead relationship type shit. We got to learn how to properly grieve, which is just appreciating the like he talked about his grandfather, and that's what I think about a lot. Like, I mean, my grandfather, I didn't realize how much influence my grandfather had on me until I got grown. Like, I was raised in this house up until I was around about 6, and then my parents got married and my mama moved out. And we've been with my parents ever since. But you know I think about my grandfather a lot sometimes. Be like, damn, I wish he was around to see my garden, or I wish he was around to see that I got a bar in my basement just like he had a bar in his. Shit like that. But I what I do is I appreciate and reminisce on the time that I did spend with him. I remember all the pleasant memories and just the things that he did do to influence me. And then also, there's a for anybody who is still grieving, there's a dope ass TED talk on YouTube called "Breathing to Heal," and he was talking about breathing, but he was talking about how when he do his, because he's like a therapist or some shit. But when he said when he first started learning how to intentionally breathe, he just started crying, and he couldn't figure out why until he stopped and he realized that he had never released or grieved through whatever death that he had experienced. I think it was his brother or something like that. But for anybody dealing with grief right now, that's definitely a dope ass podcast, or I'm sorry, TED talk to check out on YouTube. It's called Breathing to Heal. And then also we got to understand that the physical body is just a vessel, it's just a vehicle. Even science now is saying that the brain doesn't create consciousness, it picks up consciousness almost like an antenna. So we got to understand that there will come a time when this body can no longer serve us, but that isn't the end. That whole physical absence isn't the end. Whoever, especially if it's a parent, grandparent, if you're still living, they're still living within you. When you were created in your mother's womb, it was the flesh of her uterine wall used to build your body. So you are your mother's flesh, and it got the information from your father's DNA to dictate how you look, all that other shit. But you are literally developed from the interior flesh of your mother's womb. So those people do still walk around, and that's why we can say we are our ancestors, because we understand that not only are we the flesh of them, their genetic memory, experiences, triumphs, and all that shit still live on with us. So we use that knowledge of our mortality and just make sure that we, live on to make them proud, and try to do something with the knowledge that you won't be here one day, to do whatever you can while you're here to do something that impacts people beyond your life. That's why I write books. My books will be here even after I'm gone. Whoever paint, whoever do poetry, whatever the fuck, we here to create. But if we walk in our creativity, we too can produce things that will outlive us. So we really are eternal.
Right.
Shout out to the homie John Jen Guyton. I see you, my brother. He owns Greedy Guy's restaurant. Jen is from the hood. Love, bro. One of the fellas. Jen, you got to come on promote the restaurant, man, or something. Like I feel like, because I watch it, and I got to get me a plate. So if you out there, man, hit me up, man. I would just love to just help you promote it. I see you put straight up, slabs on plates. So we got to get that. Got to hook up with that, brother. I'm always about supporting black business on Outlaw Radio. If you got a platform that's positive, you doing something positive or progressive in the community, just holler at us. We will rock with you. I promise you. We want nothing more than to see black people getting over. Mama Jenkins said we have great memories, and they share so much knowledge with us. And TED Talk is dope, but Outlaw Radio is feeding and teaching. Thank you, Mama Jenkins. Thank you. Listen, we can talk about extraordinary stuff. Like we can talk about the latest what, but I think sometimes it's very important to get to a cerebral place with the show, right? Like I wholeheartedly believe that. Like I say all the time, I'm a cheerleader for foolishness. So I take in a lot of dumb shit. I watch crazy stuff sometimes. I listen to stupid shit sometimes and enjoy a good laugh. But every now and then I have to get really, really cerebral with myself, just to say where I'm at, what I'm doing, what's going on. Hold on, let me get this shit figured out, right? I need peace of mind, not a piece of my mind, but peace of mind. Very important.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, sometimes I feel like I got to stop doing that. Like I do, sometimes I feel like I do it too much. Like
Okay.
in different situations all day long, I'm always looking at analyzing myself, analyzing how I handled the situation, how I could have did it better. It's always something I'm looking at. Sometimes I feel like I do this shit too much.
You know what? If it's paralysis by analysis, Kamar, like because you can't think. You got to act too. And so if you can
Right.
get a balance of of being analytical and being able to I heard you say discernment earlier, and I don't think a lot of people understand how important it is to have that skill in
Right.
order to be able to walk in a room and see the temperature and see you. It's almost like you see that those vibes from certain and certain individuals. So we used to say my spidey sense is tingling. Well, that's not your spidey sense, that's actual discernment. When I'm talking to somebody, I can almost tell, like, this ain't somebody you really want to, you know what I mean? That's why I
Mm-hmm.
say it's listen, if you're a black man in this country, and if you got, especially if you a father, if you are a businessman, if you have a career, you have focus, you're on a mission, you better be doing what we're talking about doing right now. Like Kamar said, don't overdo it, because you can overthink it and you can just be stuck on stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Let it flow. Get in the habit of letting it flow a lot too. Like I'm
Right.
flowing
And
today.
then think about like the times throughout the day when you have interactions with people and it don't go quite right. You know what I mean? Try to
Right.
find yourself in that situation, like how you could have did it better, how you could have fixed it, how you could have changed that whole demonstration by
Yeah.
just saying something or doing something different. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm talking about, how I be critiquing myself, what I could have did to make it better. If I get into it with somebody, I have some words with somebody, I try to figure out what the fuck was it that really pissed me off. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
a,
And
a lot
then
of
and
us.
then and then I gotta get with myself and be like, wait a minute, man, you got to handle this shit better. It's always a better. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's always a better. If I'm arguing with somebody, okay, I could have did better by figuring out how not to argue with this dumb motherfucker.
In some people's minds, they're never wrong. And that's where we people who do lack accountability, because it's like, what you
Right.
mean I was wrong? Um, Erica Hunt said they shop. She's talking about J&J's. They shop at Restaurant Depot on the South Side. They sell both catfish and swa. Swa is
Yeah.
cheaper, but yet they charge us like they bought the expensive catfish.
Yeah,
So
they be
that's what I'm
down. Hey,
saying.
I be seeing them down there in they flip flops in the winter.
That's what I'm saying. If my brother Jen is watching, man, we got to get a black man who's cooking real food in the community. Right off 35th and Capitol. Got a restaurant over there that was for a long time a staple of that neighborhood. They went away, and a black man was able to get that building. Um, Mama Jenkins, I was gonna say, Kamar, you got to balance it like the do and the don't on a piece of paper. Yeah, balance is everything, man. Like
Right.
I, I do. That's why I always love when Baby Drew back in the days. He said a little ain't enough and a lot too much, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I've always like certain shit you hear that just kind of stick in your craw. You say, "Wow." Shout out to Robert
A hero
Miranda.
go to jail and never tell on nobody.
Right. Kind of hard to hurt my feelings. I ain't got none. Ain't never take that away from that
That's
brother.
that ghetto hero right there.
Right. But that's actually powder. Well, no, that is Ghetto Hero. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
ghetto hero.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Tell
my
him a
daddy baby
little ain't
brother
enough.
fronted me a shotgun. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say I come out the slums, living hot ain't nothing new to me, and that shit used to
Yeah, that
bump.
one. That one. What's that? Ain't nothing new to me.
Yeah, that
Dump
shit's
that shit in the water. If it don't jump back, tell him he owe and he out of order.
um. And that's why it's important to have a good time too. Like we have sometimes when we on here and it's just laughing and we just talking shit and it's fun. That has its place. Like all these brothers who too hard to have a good time, and that be the problem with going out because not everybody is there in the spirit of okay, it's the weekend and I just got paid. Johnny Kemp, I've got fresh as a motherfucker, smelling good, looking good, coming out here to just hear some music. Some people going out with an attitude because they don't understand
Yes,
how to even process their grief, right? So he
right,
coming in the club like I wish a motherfucker would say something to me. Well, brother, you
right.
should be at home. Why are you out with that?
Dealing
Like,
with yourself.
yeah. So it's very listen. You get too hard. Some of us too gangster for our own good, and I understand having a hard edge, mentality because that's another thing you absolutely have to have as a black man in this country. You got to be up here. You got to be steel, man. You got to have a steel trap up here because it's so easy to fall for the okey doke, right? It's so easy to fall for the flim flam banana in your tailpipe. This is a muscle. You got to exercise it, man. It's also a machine that you got to keep upgrading, making sure you
Mhm.
got the latest technology up there, right?
Right,
That's
right.
why, real. I was laughing when you put the post up about LimeWire, and I'm like, yeah, I remember when I discovered LimeWire, and I went to making my mixtapes of all my music I couldn't ever find, and then I
Yeah.
go get on the computer and there's nothing but pop ups because you also downloaded a bunch of viruses. It's like,
Yeah, that was
what the
fun. Yeah,
hell?
my pops. One thing about my pops, man, that motherfucker is a genius when it comes to electronics, man. I done seen him shit damn near build computers with toothpicks and sticks of bubble gum type shit. So when we had at the time, we had all the that was P2P sharing, person to person
Right.
sharing programs. So we had like Morpheus, Kaza, LimeWire, BearShare, but he was always good with networking. So we had like VPNs and firewalls. So we didn't have to worry about viruses. Like I said, our biggest issue or my biggest issue was trying to download this 30-second porn clip, and it took 45
Oh,
minutes to
goodness.
download, and motherfuckers worried about, right when it's about to get finished download, somebody pick up the phone. That was back in them DSL
Dial up.
days.
Yeah, dial up. Wow.
Somebody pick up the
Right.
phone and then knock your whole download off and shit. You already trying to sneak and do it, so thankfully we ain't had to worry about the viruses, man. But it did come with its own share of problems.
Shout out to Sire Williams. Shout out to Big Mike Kemet. I see y'all. We are talking about The name of the show is Peace of Mind because it's National Grief Awareness Day. And I was saying, it's okay for brothers to kind of woosah a little bit sometimes. We fighting all the time, and we stay in this fight or flight mode. A lot of us just never really get the time to just relax and chill. And I get, you might be in a situation where you say, Kev, it ain't no time for that right now. Right. I'm at war. And I get that, but even the army soldiers, get PT, right? They even take a rest. You got to step back, man, and see the big picture. And I think if anything is affecting us right now, it's the fact that we don't always see the big picture. Like,
Right.
right. And that's evident by look at the things we've contributed to this country and didn't understand the long term, like culturally, invention wise, industrially. We've come up with all these great things and just kind of rode the wave for what it was and then sold it off to somebody else, and they end up benefiting from it long term because we didn't see the big picture. That's why I say peace of mind. Peace, not just one small little smidget, but getting that thing upstairs to relax and saying, hold on, let me just chill for a minute. I mean, I've taken a PTO day from work before and said, you know what? I'm not even getting out this bed. I ain't going in today.
You got to. You
Chilling.
got to take your mental health break days.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It burn out, man. It's rough out here. That's why I asked Milwaukee. I asked everybody, how y'all doing? Y'all good with all this bullshit we dealing with? All this stress, all this trauma, all this crazy shit you see being played out on our back, the systematic nature of our oppression. You looking at it every day. They're not hiding it. It's right in your face, plain Jane, waving it at you. What you gonna do about it? These Arab business people, if you will, these Arab grocers, liquor store owners, corner store owners, gas station owners, restaurant owners, they come into our community and don't contribute shit to it, and they do it blatantly and say, well, what you gonna do? You ain't gonna stop shopping with me. What you gonna do? Right? I always hear about Cube. I always remember the interview with Ice Cube when he said, okay, I caught Jerry Heller and Easy E with their hand in the cookie jar. And I peeped game on how they was getting over on us. And when I brought it to him, they said, what you gonna do? Go solo? And they kind of laughed. And he said, yeah, you know what? I think I am. And so we got to kind of be like that. Like, all right, I got you. That's why I say if stop complaining about shit and start doing what they do. If they buy politicians, let us buy politicians.
Yeah.
If they put their people in pivotal situations so that they can progress and prosper, why don't we do the same? Instead of bitching and moaning about it, right? Like, you don't expect the winner to say, you know what, we beating y'all by 20. Why don't y'all take two of our good players and we'll let them play the rest of the game with y'all? Like, that shit never happens, right? You don't see after halftime one team come out and be like, okay, well, they gave them, since they ain't got a good point guard and a good forward, this team that's winning by 20, letting them use theirs. No, that's not how this thing works. And so we got to remember everything ultimately is kind of like a competition because it's survival of the fittest, right? It's like, the war of attrition. How long can you last? How long can you go, right? And sometimes we don't understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you're gonna lead them first 50 yards, and then it's downhill from there. So yeah, man, Outlaw Radio National Grief Awareness Day. How y'all doing? Still can call in. Still can say, you know what? I've been tripping lately, dog. I've been stressed out, man. I'm doing this shit at work, or I just got this big order in at my business, and I'm stressing. My lady tripping on me lately because I've been trying to do this or that, or it comes in so many different ways at you.
Yeah, it do.
And that's the one thing I try to prepare my son for is understanding that once you become an adult and you become a grown man, your sense of accountability and responsibility has to go all the way up. You got to level all the way up, especially when you start talking about having a family. I've spoken on a moment before of I can remember the first time my daughter being home as a newborn that I actually held her in my arms. And I remember looking at her saying to myself, my life will never be the same, because at that moment I felt such a sense of responsibility. Like whatever this little girl eats, the clothes that goes on her back, the fact of having her in, a roof over her head, that shit's all on me now. And then I got scared because I said, how the fuck am I going? the fuck am I gonna do?
Yeah, I had my first panic attack when I knew. Once I found out I was about to be a father, and I ain't even had a panic attack. When I found that shit out, I didn't even know it was a panic attack. I just know that she told me she was pregnant. So I went to my job and asked for full time. They wouldn't give me full time. That was at Jewel.
Okay. Oh, he froze up a little bit.
Man. So I
Well, you
ended up going to Pepsi. And
okay?
I was leaving the physical from Pepsi, and I'm like, okay, shit, it's 2004. I'm making $12.50 an hour. They was paid weekly, so I'm just calculating shit. That's back when rent was like $500 a month type shit. So,
Affordable.
right. So I was like, okay, I'll be seeing $500 a week. That's 2 G's a month. I'm 21, got a kid on the way. I'm like, okay, I didn't plan this shit, but I'm handling my business. So I'm just driving, calculating. Okay, 2 weeks, I have my first month security deposit, all that shit. Next thing I know, my like forehead got the tingling and my chest got tight, and it almost felt like I was about to lose my breath, but I could breathe. It's just I was like, I don't know what the hell going on, but I feel like I'm about to lose control of myself. And if I lose control of myself, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to regather myself. And I was driving down Capitol because it was like a Concentra on Capitol somewhere. So I was going down Capitol, having a panic attack, but had to calm myself down so I could make it to 87th and Hampton, where I stayed at the time. So yeah, man, just like I said, I wasn't thinking about nothing bad. I was thinking about good shit and preparing, but just letting my mind go that fast in the future of the unknowns and shit. Your body will respond. You get to hyperventilating and shit.
Yeah, it's real, man. People don't, I totally understand if you watching this show. Yeah, some bullshit tonight. I wanted to hear you talk some shit. Well, you hearing us talk shit, but you're hearing us talk some real shit. There's a difference between the two. Mama Jenkins said not to be stupid, but we can freeze like McConnell. It's time for him to take his retirement now. She said, why is the Senate allowing him to continue to make decisions? Well, it's the same reason that individuals who were elected officials during segregation and Jim Crowism were allowed to hold their positions for years. Strom Thurmond was 300 years old, right? And still sitting in power. Like when it comes to them, they adjust the rules for themselves. They're called loopholes, right? And so that's what they do. And we sit back and it's almost like we're in awe, like, damn, the white man's so cold. He can do this and he can do that. I don't think we put enough energy in figuring out how we can do the same thing. They won't let a black man do that. Well, if we get our money up and we exercise our position the way we should, we can eventually get to that level. That's what I'm saying, man. Shout out to Robert Miranda, who is part of FLAC, Freshwater Life Action Coalition. I'm sorry, Coalition. He was on the show talking about the water. And so you see now that MPS has received this $3.2 million donation of fountains to go into schools. Now they're supposed to have better filters and make the water, it said it look and smell better. So right.
How was it looking and smelling before?
You feel me? Like I'm saying, like, the one thing we kept talking about is that there's cognitive effects on the brain due to long-term lead poisoning. And I'd like to know, how much have they known about how bad this water actually was just for the babies? Because it's something to get these millions of dollars in donations with these LK filtration fountains. You see the kind with the water bottles on them and all that kind of thing. They're supposed to have these filters. I like to talk to Robert to see how good those filters are too. So we got to holler at Robert Miranda. Mama Jenkins said exactly. I just thought of that asshole too. I'm a strong term. Look at Ronald Reagan. Like, Ronald Reagan was senile for like the last 5 years of his presidency and shit. Maybe less, but he was just inept in the White House. Wife was running the country. He was allowed to do that. Like, they got mad at Barack Obama for wearing a brown suit. It's just, you can't. That's another thing, and I get why a lot of black people are really frustrated because they feel powerless. You feel so downtrodden and stepped on and stomped on when you see how this system works. A lot of poor people, they are beaten into submission. A lot of people who are in like economically you know, dire straits, they feel like punch drunk. They don't even want to fight no more. They saying, and that's why I would even point this in the direction of them. It's important that we go through there sometime and say, hey man, y'all all right? They say, yeah, we good, we good. No, but are you okay? Because you can't seem to escape this cycle, right? This is a what he say? This is a circle that appears as a straight line. Um, I my people, I don't think we do enough critical thinking because we think that's for soft dudes. I think that's for squares. If I ain't talking about some gangster ass street shit, right? If I ain't posturing, yeah, because I'm a real nigga and all this, and if I'm not doing that, then I guess my message is not received well. I get upset with this all the time about the level of being intellectual that we engage in on Outlaw Radio, and it's not all so square that you can't digest it. You think about all the guests that we've had on here from different kinds of walks and different kinds of things, and it's entirely digestible because you can laugh and you can learn. But somebody will come on with some dumbass shit that ain't gonna serve no purpose and enlighten nobody, and their numbers will absolutely blow us away. I look at that shit and I get pissed, and that's the times when I need somebody to say, Kev, you all right? You straight? Because I don't be. I be pissed. Like, what the fuck, man? So then I start getting tempted. Maybe I should start doing some of that shit. But I can only be me, right? There we go, quoting 8Ball and MJG again. I can't be nobody but me, and that's all I can be. I can't be who you want me to be because, nigga, that ain't me. Right? In our lifetime, greatest 8Ball, stop it. One of the top Southern rap albums ever. You can't top it, stop it. It just don't get me going on it. I'm gonna start playing some of that music. I'm gonna start violating these copyright laws as long as I can say I don't own the rights. I just because I love starting the show out with scientists and engineers last week, and before that I did 8Ball and MJG with Crumbs the Bricks. The music usually gives life to the conversation, man. But yeah, man, there's another thing that I wonder about. Is Steve Harvey the most hated man in America? Because it seemed like niggas want this dude to have a downfall so bad. Y'all heard all the rumors about his wife cheating on him and all this kind of stuff, and I'm not getting into that. But then I seen him come out and say, man, we're good. We don't have any issues. Y'all got to think about, y'all got to come up with something better than this. Y'all need to do something better with y'all time. And it just got me to thinking, because I remember Steve Harvey was like our guy. When I was in college, the Steve Harvey show was one of my go-tos. I loved Regina, but it was a funny show. It was funny as fuck. And then how did it switch from that to now? Most people just don't like Steve Harvey. Like what the?
I think it's the man. Remember he wrote them books, How to Think Like a Man and shit. I think his stock with black men just dropped after that. Man, that's what I feel like.
Man, they hate brothers hate them some Steve Harvey, man. Like I watched
the interview he did with Shannon Sharp. I liked it.
Okay.
I thought it was a dope ass interview. You know what I mean? I like Steve Harvey. He do talk a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Somebody could do something that I don't like at one point, but then I could watch them talk and still get something up out of them and still appreciate some shit they say later. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And Steve Harvey is that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was coming off for a minute like he was going to be the new Cosby, because we know now that ultimately, regardless of whether you believe Cosby did anything to anybody, you know that he was, if nothing else, a hypocrite, because he was living a life that he wasn't totally open, honest, and transparent about, and condemning others for the way they was living at this. So he was very hypocritical. And I think that's the problem that brothers have with the book, is that you giving all this relationship advice and telling women what they
he shitted on Milwaukee too, didn't he?
I don't know if Steve Harvey ever took a shot.
I'm talking about Bill Cosby.
Oh yeah, well, Bill Cosby actually came to Milwaukee and did the infamous pound cake speech at North Division,
Yeah,
and
he
that
tried.
was when he came and basically shook his finger in the finger of all black people and chided us for being poor and not
Right.
controlling our kids and sagging our pants and listening to all kinds of crazy ignorant rap music, and everybody was looking at Bill like, damn, no shit, Sherlock, tell us some shit we don't know. uh Ewok the Great is in the chat room. He says Steve is running around trying to steal Bernie Mac jobs. He's a dirty, thirsty nigga. He may be.
How we
People
know
have
he's
their
still? Hey,
reasons.
how you got Bernie Mac gone? How you still a Bernie Mac job?
Well, because there's the story that during, with the Kings of Comedy thing, when because everybody had at that point had a television show and movies and all this kind of thing. Bernie Mac had not, even though he was the funniest and most talented out of
Yeah,
all of them.
he even joked about that. They ain't gonna give me no show. They ain't
Right.
gonna give me one.
But when his career took off because of Kings of Comedy, he started getting movie offers in a TV show. They said Steve Harvey allegedly tried to tell people to give him the roles instead or try to talk down on Bernie. And
Uh,
so that was why people always say
hey,
Bernie Mac
there's
didn't
another
like
reason.
Steve Harvey.
Hey,
Right.
there's
Okay.
another reason
Okay.
why a lot
Okay.
of black people probably don't like Steve Harvey no more.
I just thought he came off as like Judge when I used to his morning show here in Milwaukee used to be really. I'm like he sounded like really judgmental and one of them dudes who always wants to shit on younger brothers or like when he's trying to make a point about working hard and saying if you get 8 hours of sleep, that's why you poor, because rich people don't sleep. So it's almost anti what we saying tonight is sometimes you got to step back. I just noticed that the hate for him is great.
That's some shit I done heard before though.
Right.
Motherfuckers talk about people who wind up getting rich. You know what I mean? A lot of the time on the way, they don't sleep much. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because it's a lot of work. Like I think about what like right now with me. You know what I mean? Shit, I'll be up late when I get done with this show. Shit, I got some more work to do. You know what
Uh-oh.
I'm saying?
Well, I got to be up early to be on Massa's plantation. I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
same thing, but I'll get a temporary reprieve, and then it's back to yeah, but you know what? I'm one of them dudes where honestly, I honestly feel good when I do get up and go work and earn money so I can take care of my family.
Right.
Right? I don't. People say you work a job, you square, you idiot. I say that's cool, but
Ain't nothing wrong
I've
with
been,
that.
I've enjoyed being able to be consistent because
Right.
that has allowed me to do other things.
Yeah.
That's why I have equipment to do a podcast or
Right.
content creation because I work my ass off.
Right.
As a
I
result, I'm able to
agree.
burn.
Everybody can't do everything. Don't do
Yeah, man.
everything. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We all got lives, man. I mean, and that's just what it is.
Um. So it's NFL time. Sharon Evans, how you doing, my sister? It's NFL time. We won't be on much longer because when I say mental health, when I say how you doing, peace of mind, we're gonna get off early tonight. We ain't gonna force the issue. But I got a couple other things I want to touch on. And if y'all got something, jump in, please. Don't let me interrupt you. Um, I was I was thinking about sports, and I said the NFL season is about to come back. The Packers are about to come back. Their season is about to start up, and so we get into this thing. If you're a football guy like me, and I watch the Green Bay Packers, but I don't watch any other NFL games because I'm still upset with the NFL for their treatment of men of color in terms of ownership, and I still think it's just the biggest travesty in the world on what they did to Colin Kaepernick. So I watched the Green Bay Packers, and I watched their games, and I feel like I'm happy that Aaron Rodgers is gone because I hate for someone to hold someone else hostage. But I'm starting to wonder if Giannis is not on the same thing because y'all see his latest comments about, well, I'm not going to resign until I see that the commitment to winning is there for everybody. And I'm like, well, first of all, Giannis needs to understand that he's important in this city because he generates some revenue from being here and making 100 million kazillion to do it. But when we start to get to this superstar status where we start saying, well, unless everybody on the same page, well, that means you probably got to shoot free throws better. right? That means you probably got to get a better jumper. You're not without flaw. So I was just wondering, and Giannis has been great for the city because he's been like a humble dude who's just been kind of like a blue collar dude. But I'm like, I hope Giannis ain't finna go on this Hollywood shit.
Hey, think about it though, Kev. Like all superstars say that. I ain't signing no contract extension until I see where the team is headed. They all say that.
Okay, but okay, so let me rephrase that. And this was my problem with Aaron Rodgers. So you mean to tell me that they're going to pay you 75, 80 million dollars a year to play a sport, and you got to make up your mind whether or not you going to sign again, and you in a city where the median income for black people is $29,000 a year.
That part ain't got nothing to do with me. My thing is, okay, I'm getting paid, but I want to win too.
You won.
That's why
You
I'm
won.
playing. Man, look, okay, I won a championship, but I want to win more. That's what I'm playing for. You know what I mean? I want to be the best ever. I want to be the best. I want to win the most championships. I'm on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't knocking him. I ain't knocking no superstar to do that because I just feel like shit. They all want to win too. Like, I ain't gonna sign no contract extension, and I feel like y'all just gonna be like, oh, fuck it now. You know what I mean? We won a championship. We ain't finna really try to get no good players. We just gonna let Giannis do it all.
Okay.
Like, wow, man, I
Okay.
want to
So,
win.
Kamar, let me ask you this question. That's fine to do, but why not just go directly to the owners and say that instead of saying that in the press?
Well, because they asked him the question, and that's the answer
Well,
that
no.
superstars all give.
Well, I think he just could have answered it better and said, "Well, we'll talk about that. There's some things that I'm concerned about, or some things that I like to see happen, and we'll." I just feel like anytime you're in a city where
That's the
we're
same.
so
That's kind of the same thing.
well, not necessarily. Well, I ain't signing. It's like you don't
No,
threaten me. I don't want your funky ass $100 million in a city that's so poor. Like
well, look, he still got some years to go, right?
he still
On
can't
his
shoot free
contract.
throws. He still
I'm saying on
no.
his
He's up
contract.
next summer. This season, next summer, he's up.
Right. So we want to see how they gonna do it. I mean, I really feel like he gonna sign again. You know what I mean? But that's the threat you make to make sure the team get on stake, keep the fire on the team, man.
Okay.
If y'all want to keep me, come on, let's keep this run going.
Right. I hear
That's
you.
the same. I mean, I just feel like shit. If I was a superstar, I'd be trying to figure out any kind of way I could get this team, get some fire under their ass too. Not the team, but the management I'm talking about. As far as keeping the players coming and shit.
I just feel like he gonna go Kareem and go and get him a white woman and go play in Los Angeles. Kareem was pro-black as hell when he was in Milwaukee. To Los Angeles and married a white woman. I'm sorry, Kareem. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about the other night that we didn't get a chance to talk about because that was actually the commemoration of the death of Emmett Till. And Emmett Till's death is one of those Chairman Fred Hampton level crimes in which a young brother was murdered allegedly from some alleged comments or whistle that he put at directed towards a white woman, which we found out later on was not even true. And so I thought about that and I said, man, it's been dangerous for a black man to deal with white women for a long time. Why are there so many of us that still desire the alabaster super cunt? I just, and that's in the words of Iceberg Slim. That's what he called him. Alabaster super cunt. And like I still see that our thirst for being in interracial relationships is still great, but there's been so many examples over the years of black men being killed for even looking. The greatest accusation of getting somewhere like Black Wall Street burnt down or Rosewood is, hey, he assaulted a white woman. And it didn't even make it no more hypocritical that during that time white men assaulted and abused white women on a regular basis. It was damn near legal. But they were justified to hang Negroes. Like I seen somebody post a question in a forum that says, do we lose any respect for Serena Williams for running off with the white man, bringing is she a bad wench, like, or is she just let her live? She's good at tennis. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you see brothers who do that, and I'm not knocking any brother with a white woman, but if we're evolved in 2023, and even if you have a white woman, shout out to you, first of all, you love. I can't tell you who you should love, but I asked this question many times. Does it dilute you in any way if you a black man and you say you love black people and you loved your black mama and your black grandmama, but you with a white woman? Does does that affect your blackness? Are you on code? I'm just asking. I see brothers.
Here it goes.
I just, how much do you love us? How much do you love your people? If you say, well, shit. Out of all the women that I met, you could never ever find a black woman that you could coexist with and do your thing, but that white woman was just what you needed. I I'm just saying, like, I see brothers who got 5 black baby mamas and couldn't commit or do anything right by any of them, but the white lady comes through and steals the show. Now he done learn how to be domesticated and settle down, and now he's a good dude. And I'm asking too. Y'all keep in mind, I'm asking. I don't want nobody to be out there like, well, I'm part white, and what do that mean? And in 2023, does interracial relationships or marriage really mean anything relevant to how black you are? Can I be a black man
You know
married to a
what,
white
Kev?
woman
I
and
think,
live in
I
mess?
think, hey, I think it's kind of is. We probably should. What if we take off the word black, pro black, black, and we just talked about the work you do and for who you do the work for.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that would tell it all right there. You know what I mean? The work you do. Like, what do you do out here? You know what I'm saying? Like, what makes you pro-black? And we just take the words off and just watch people lives. And then that's a good, then I mean, I could say, like, okay, I could have a white woman and then I could run around talking about, yeah, I'm pro-black, Africa. I'm going to Africa. I'm Africa, my wife white and all that shit, right? That don't mean shit. But like, what are you doing? It's your actions that tell what you are.
Okay. Because I've heard brothers who have white women say, hey man, just because I married a white woman don't mean I don't love my people. And I say, is that an actual factual statement? I don't know. I'm asking because I need clarity. Ernest Walker says nobody stays loyal or becomes slaves to teams no more. It's a new age. I take it personal because it's Milwaukee and we didn't have shit. We didn't have a championship since 1970, and then all of a sudden, we got one, and now he's talking
Hey,
about
that's
we're
the
not on
thing
this
too,
team.
man. The times we in, you know what I mean? Like, motherfuckers don't be loyal to teams like that no more.
Right.
But then look, okay, that could be the effect from how teams would do players. Like, you know what I'm saying? Shit on them and let them go, and they know nothing, and just treat them like shit.
Use
Send
up
them
your
to a
best years
skinny
and
ass
get
town. You know what I'm saying? So players start fighting back and using their leverage.
Alexandria said, did we hear about Jacksonville? Alexandria, you must have missed Monday's show. Shame on you. We talked about Jacksonville on Monday. We talked about it. We talked about it a lot. I felt like, it might have been, there's reports that it may have been retaliatory for the Montgomery brawl. She said, I don't think you can be pro-black and date interracially. That's what the sister said. Sisters have always had very strong feelings about interracial dating, but I see a lot of sisters now justifying it, saying if you can't find a good man or whatever, what have you. I'm just asking because, and I'm old enough now, mature enough to understand that it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the price of tea in China. So, because I hear Kamar, if you're out here and you're constantly in the community, you're making a difference, and you ain't putting a label on it, you're just doing for your people, and you happen to have a young Becky, it don't mean anything, but the optics of it make it look questionable. Like when you show up with her,
Mhm.
it's like, what the fuck? Like,
And
oh,
look,
look at this
and
cat,
that's
man.
why I say, don't nothing matter but your actions.
Right.
You know what I mean? The motherfucker can say what they want, but then they gotta say, but you know what I mean? He does this, he did this, he did this, he's doing this, and you know what I'm
But
saying?
okay, Kamar. So if you stand up and you start to talk about one of the prevailing issues in our community, it is the disillusionment of the black family structure. And if you talk about us how you should, you know that there's a need for the black woman and the black man to be on the same page. Like regardless of all the other shit,
Right.
it's we have a fatherhood
Hey, and
epidemic.
then
We have a parenthood epidemic in our community, right? And so if and I'm just throwing this out there. So if you're gonna come and you really gonna speak to what's ailing us, and then you show up with her, and it's a bunch of sisters who like I could benefit off a brother like you. I wish I
I,
had a
I agree. I agree with you, Kev. You know what I mean? I agree with you, but you know, we was talking about trauma. Are you all right? Right. So it's like fucker went to North Division. You know what I mean? The sisters treated him like shit because he was a little different.
he was ugly.
You know what I mean? So then he decide, well, maybe they don't like me. You know what I'm saying? And
Right,
he get fed up in the, you know what I mean? And he start looking elsewhere. I mean, we don't know what a motherfucker done been through.
right.
But
And
like
that
I say, he grew up in North Division too. So he do got a love for some people. You know what I mean? His family hood is a motherfucker.
that, that that's
I'm just
I
throwing a
know, I know, and
situation.
we just tossing the
Yeah,
hat in the ring because it's Wednesday
pontificating,
and we ain't gonna be back on. But I like it's like
pontificating.
that same thing we talked about where a lot of us who grew up during the '90s and during the crack era felt a certain way about females because of the materialism that kind of came along, and where all of
Right.
a sudden the young, if you wasn't in the game and you wasn't shining like that, you
They
was
want
eating
you.
leftovers. And
Yep.
so a lot of brothers said, you know what, we don't love these hoes. You know what I'm
Nigga,
saying?
please, you work for UPS.
Right. You smell like fries. And so it created a sense of misogyny. And you get to where that was the result of that is a lot of dudes who had babies by women and never acknowledged them or took care of them and was in the wind like bitch please or whatever. That mentality created something negative. And a lot of us were saying, well, because most of the most crooked doggish dudes that you'll ever meet was taught or made by a woman, right? Like you usually are a square up until you first get hurt, and then you put your dukes up and you say, you know what, from now on,
Mm-hmm.
that ain't gonna happen no more. Um,
Yeah.
so it's things. I'm just thinking out loud. It's just thinking out loud. What else do we got before we get out of here? Once again, if y'all got something, let me know. If y'all want to make a point about something, I'm looking to see. I think I've pretty much covered everything. Shout out to the sister Shakari Richardson. I'm loving what she's doing since we talking sports. I'm loving the way she came back from adversity because remember she had flunked the drug test and people were at her and she was too
Mm-hmm.
ghetto and she had the multicolored wigs and now this sister's the fastest woman in the world. She got true to her craft, got herself right. I hope somebody sat her down and said, "Are you straight? You okay? You good? Is this pressure too much for you?" Because she kicking ass now. Blowing them out the water. To the point where when she broke the record in the 100-yard dash, I think, and I was watching it, she was running so fast that at the end, before she got to the line, she actually put her finger up like this, like in the air to say, "Yeah, I told y'all so." And this is in the midst of the race. And so, man, that sister was moving. And so, shout out to her, man. I love to see us do well, man. I love to see us do well.
Hey,
Kamar,
I
what
got
you
a
got coming
question,
up this
man.
weekend?
Y'all know on the news in the morning on Fox 6, when that Brian Crump dude come, do that be live?
I do not know because I don't watch the news in the morning. I don't watch
Oh,
it. That's your next. Is he supposed to come see you?
yeah, I might be on there in the morning.
Okay.
If it's live, it'll be in the morning. But you know what I
Okay.
mean. If not, I don't know when it's gonna be on there.
Okay. Because they do like a Milwaukee, like the show, the real Milwaukee or whatever, and then they have the news, the wake up
Mm.
news. So I don't know. What else you got coming up this weekend, man?
Be the House of Vitality, man. The House of Vitality. I'm gonna be down there getting that joint popping. You
Okay.
know.
Come see that brother. What you got popping, Rail?
Same old, promoting the books, 12 Steps to Becoming Your Own Dope, in my gratitude journal. Also, talking my shit on TikTok. Just expanding my community that I hit. I'm just seeing a lot of people really need somebody to talk to, and the unfortunate thing is a lot of people don't have people in their lives that they trust enough to let their guard down and actually talk to. So, I've really been working on just trying to figure out if I want to create a web page that I then offer um, consultations on, or how I'm gonna go ahead and do it. But I really do want to open up my services to just providing a safe space for self-examination to people who are ready to, maybe not even ready to do the work, but at least to have a safe space to kind of examine themselves to see if they are to do the work, what they need to start working on first. So that's my goal, starting to shift away from the teaching online. I mean, I'm gonna still do that too, but I do really want to offer people, consultation, so I can see, because everybody problem ain't the same, and everybody don't want to share their shit with everybody. So just something that, like you said, you can say, hey, are you okay? What keeps you up at night? What's some things that you wish you could change if you had the ability to? And then, strategize and implement some sort of plan for them to at least kick off the work. Just enough to see if they want to continue with it.
Yeah, man. I was expressing some real anger tonight because in my studio, my whole RC collection is down here. And like I said, I still got brand new ones that I still have not got to run. And I'm like, I gotta hook up with Rail. So we gotta get a little spot. And I'm scoping out a spot that I think will be sufficient. Because the stuff I got, you need space to run it. You can't have
Yeah,
no little. My shit is 70, 80 miles an hour, so you got to
yeah,
have
yeah,
real space. So I'm hoping I can get that together this weekend and just hit you and be like, hey man, look, tomorrow get your batteries charged up. We gonna rock. So I'm trying to get that, but other than that, I'm gonna be chilling because I'm gonna take the time to just relax, man. Which I've
yeah.
been doing the past few weekends. So tonight, when I said to y'all, it's very important that we as black men learn how to even ask ourselves, like, "Are you straight? You good? How you doing, man?" Like, it's
Right,
okay to not be okay. It's okay to say, "Well, I'm still dealing with some shit." You put it on the back burner too long, it becomes an inferno and it consumes all that it touches. And so, like, what I try to do is just what we call mental tenacity. We talk about being right upstairs, right? And old folks say he ain't right in the head, right? He got a reprobated mind. Um, so sometimes you got to recharge. You gotta reinvigorate yourself, man. If you don't have anything that you love doing, you got to find something, right? Like, so I'm talking about this RC stuff. Like, at one point in my life, this was a real stress reliever for me. That's why I fell in love with doing it, because I could go out there and just rip and be like, woo. And I feel relieved. Stress remover. I have many hobbies that I engage in to keep myself balanced. And I hope y'all getting balanced too, man. Because you can't do it all alone, man. You need help, right? And sometimes the biggest help you're gonna get is gonna come from yourself, right?
right,
Say he helps those who help themselves. So it's important to remember all of that. We'll be back Monday with some foolishness. I'm sure some bullshit will happen after this or before then, and we'll come back and talk shit like we normally do and be outlaws. But support the show. Share this show. Share this show. Share this show. I can't even stress how much it helps us when you share the show. Last week, the show we did on Monday, tremendous numbers. Great time doing it. Let these people know that Outlaw Radio
Hey,
is the best and the primest shit you're gonna hear in terms of podcasts in Milwaukee. Go ahead, bro.
I just remember Sunday I'm doing an event at Jericho Church up there on 76 off of Bradley or something like that. It's a men's health group actually.
mm,
You know what I mean? So like fellas, y'all watching, you know what I mean? Y'all can come up there Sunday. I want to say it's from 11 to 2 or something like that. You know, it's
Okay.
real short and ain't gonna take up your whole day. You know, come on in and get up out of there. Come have
All right,
some
man. I like what was said tonight. It's about your actions, right? And it ain't about what they say you did, right? Right? It's not about what they say about you, right? And I always say, you know, I may have done the things you said I did, but I'm not who you say I am. And so even at this age, even as smart as I am and as much as I've been through, and even with my gift of discernment, I get to the point where sometimes I'm tired. So I just gotta relax. Y'all, when y'all see that we're not on and we ain't doing the show, it's because I'm tired. And I'm just like, you just let me relax for a minute. So I'll end the show by quoting the great Marvin Gaye once again. Change what you can. What you can't, leave it alone. Just had a sense to know the difference between the two. Peace and love, man. I'll see y'all Monday night.
peace.